Most guys get rejected not because the woman isn't interested, but because they approached her the wrong way. What if I told you that the way you initiate contact with a woman can flip her perception of you from meh to I need to know more? Yeah, even if she wasn't into you at first. There's a way to change that without chasing, begging, or pretending to be someone you're not. Let's be real. Approaching a woman you're interested in can feel like walking into a trap. You don't want to look desperate. You don't want to get embarrassed. And you damn sure don't want to waste time on someone who already decided you're not her type. But here's the truth. Attraction is rarely fixed. It's fluid. It's emotional. It's psychological. And if you understand how to trigger it, you can make even the most disinterested woman stop, take notice, and feel something real. This isn't about pickup lines or cheesy tactics. It's about mastering how women respond to energy, presence, and the one thing most guys never use: strategic curiosity. Most guys get rejected not because the woman isn't interested, but because they approach her in a way that shuts attraction down before it even has a chance to build. It's not that she's completely closed off, it's that she doesn't feel anything yet. And when a woman doesn't feel something, she doesn't act. But here's the twist: she can feel something, even if at first glance she wasn't thinking about you like that. Attraction isn't about logic or lists, it's about moments, emotions, and the way you present yourself without even trying to be liked. The truth is, attraction often begins where certainty ends, and most men kill that mystery the second they open their mouth. Think about this. When a guy walks up to a woman and immediately tries to impress her, there's nothing left for her to discover. He's already given everything away: his intentions, his interest, his need for validation. That's not attraction, that's pressure. And pressure makes people pull away. But when a man approaches in a way that suggests he's curious, not desperate, interested, not invested, it changes the entire vibe. She doesn't feel like she has to reject him. She starts wondering why he's so calm, why he's so in control. And that wonder, that's where attraction grows. It starts with how you carry yourself. When you walk into a room, women don't just look at your face or your clothes, they notice your vibe. Are you looking for attention? Are you nervous? Are you scanning the room, hoping someone will validate you? Or are you grounded, calm, and focused? That difference is huge. And it's why guys who aren't even traditionally attractive can still have women gravitating toward them, because they carry themselves like they don't need anything. They're just there, fully in control of their world. And that alone makes a woman feel safe and intrigued at the same time. When you first approach a woman, don't go in trying to prove your worth. That's what everyone else does. Be different. Make her feel like you're not here to impress her. You're here because something about her energy stood out. You noticed something specific. Not just her looks, but her presence. That subtle shift creates a whole different reaction in her brain. Instead of being on defense, she starts tuning in. She pays attention. Because now, you're not just another guy with a compliment. You're a guy who saw something. And whether she wants to admit it or not, she wants to know what exactly that was. You can say something playful, something that catches her off guard just a little, but in a good way. Not scripted or try hard. Just something that feels natural, like you've done this 1,000 times before. And it's no big deal to you. Maybe you comment on her expression, her body language, or something subtle about the environment that connects you both in that moment. When you do that, you create a private bubble, even if there are people all around. And that bubble is where attraction begins, where it lives and breathes. It's not about words, it's about energy. Now, here's what most guys screw up next: they stay too long. They think that if she doesn't show interest right away, they need to push harder. They start telling jokes, asking too many questions, or trying to find common ground. But what they're really doing is digging a hole. The more they try, the less space they give her to feel something naturally. And when a woman feels boxed in, she disconnects. Fast. So instead, you keep it short. You give her just enough to feel a little spark, then you leave. Not abruptly, not rudely, but with control. You end it on your terms, even if it feels too early. That's what creates tension. That's what leaves a woman thinking, wait, who was that guy? When she doesn't get the full picture, she starts filling in the blanks herself. That's powerful, because her imagination is always going to create a version of you that's way more compelling than anything you could say outright. That's how you stick in her mind, not by overselling, but by leaving space. That space becomes desire. And the next time she sees you, she'll remember that feeling. That curiosity, that subtle moment where everything felt different from the usual. Let's say she wasn't into you at first. Maybe she glanced at you and looked away. Maybe she was focused on something else. That doesn't mean she's not attracted. It just means she hasn't felt attracted yet. And feelings can change fast when they're triggered the right way. But only if you don't show signs of chasing. The moment she senses you're trying too hard, it's over. But if you're relaxed, if your energy is stable, if you're not giving her the spotlight but instead sharing it with her, she starts noticing you in a different light. It's subtle, but it's real. You want to make her feel like you're evaluating her just as much as she's evaluating you. Not in a cocky way, but in a confident way. Like you've met a lot of people, and you're only drawn to the ones who have something real about them. That shifts the dynamic completely. She's not just the prize, you are too. And when she realizes she has to earn your attention, not just receive it by default, the attraction becomes mutual. Not forced, not manipulated, but real. What makes a woman intrigued isn't the guy who's always available. It's the one who seems like he could be interested, but doesn't act like he needs her to be. That's the paradox that pulls her in. You're open, but detached. Engaged, but unbothered. You're present, but you're not pressed. That emotional tension, that's where her mind starts to spin. She starts to ask herself why she's thinking about you, why she's paying attention, why she wants to know more. And when a woman starts asking herself questions about you, that's the moment you've won. Most women don't even realize what's happening when this shift starts. One moment, they're not paying attention. The next, they're catching themselves, looking over at you, wondering why they're suddenly curious. That's the thing. Real attraction doesn't always hit like lightning. Sometimes it creeps in through the back door of her mind. It's subtle, it builds, and it all starts with how you make her feel, not what you say. If she feels relaxed but intrigued around you, if you trigger a sense of curiosity without forcing it, she'll start creating her own reasons to keep engaging with you. A huge mistake most men make is focusing too much on making an impression instead of reading the moment. They get so caught up in how they're coming across that they stop paying attention to how she's actually feeling. But if you pay attention, if you slow down, listen more, speak with purpose, you'll notice the signs. Maybe it's the way she plays with her hair, or the way she holds eye contact just a second longer than she needs to. Maybe she mirrors your posture without even realizing it. These tiny cues are everything. That's your feedback loop. That's how you know the dynamic is shifting in your favor. And when you notice those moments, you don't call them out. You play into them. Now, if she still seems cold or distracted, here's the key. Don't push harder. Pull back slightly. Give her space to choose. This is one of the most counterintuitive things you'll ever learn in attraction. Giving space creates tension. Most guys think they need to do more to get a reaction, but sometimes less is more. When you give her space, it forces her to become an active participant. It flips the frame. Instead of you chasing her energy, she starts wondering if she's earned yours. And that flips the emotional script in her mind. Suddenly, she's not the one evaluating, you are. That shift can make her reevaluate you instantly. It's also important to understand that the way you talk matters just as much as what you say. If your tone is high-pitched, overly eager, or too fast, it signals anxiety. But if your voice is calm, relaxed, and deliberate, it creates a sense of safety and confidence. Think of it this way. Your voice is like a mirror to your internal world. If you sound like someone who doesn't need to prove anything, it's magnetic. Women pick up on that instantly, even if they don't consciously register it. You don't need to talk a lot. In fact, talking less, but with more impact, makes everything you say hit harder. Sometimes it's the pauses between your words that do more than the words themselves. When you take your time speaking, when you hold eye contact without flinching, when you smile without rushing, it shows that you're grounded. It shows that your world isn't shaken by her presence, and that makes her want to be a part of your world. Because let's face it, most guys lose their cool the second a beautiful woman shows interest. They become too available, too agreeable, too predictable, and predictability kills desire. To really attract a woman who isn't showing interest yet, you need to be able to create a sense of unpredictability, not in a chaotic way, but in a grounded, masculine way. She needs to feel that you're not just another guy who's going to orbit around her for attention. She needs to feel like you could walk away at any moment and still be completely fine. That energy, that quiet confidence, is what makes her start to chase you without even realizing it. She starts leaning in more, she laughs harder at your jokes, she initiates touch more often, and suddenly the whole dynamic flips. Let's say you're talking to her and she seems half distracted. Most guys panic in that moment. They try harder, get louder, try to dominate the space. But if you simply slow down, drop your energy just slightly, and make a comment that lightly acknowledges the moment, without reacting emotionally, you flip the script. Something like, "You've got a lot on your mind today, huh?" said with a slight smirk. That shows awareness, not neediness. It shows you're reading her, not reacting to her. And that subtle emotional intelligence makes you stand out more than anything flashy ever could, even if she initially doesn't show much interest. The fact that you can stay composed and read the situation puts you in a rare category of men. She might not be into you yet, but now she's wondering why you're not phased, why you didn't try harder, why you didn't crumble under the pressure of her disinterest. And that's exactly what starts planting the seed of attraction in her mind. Because what doesn't chase her starts to feel different. It starts to feel more valuable. You're not trying to be mysterious. You just are because you're not giving away everything right away. You're letting her discover you, bit by bit. And as she starts noticing how different you are from other guys, that not interested wall starts to crack. She becomes more open. She starts asking questions, leaning in more. And when that happens, you still don't get overly excited. You keep your pace. You don't change just because she's showing more signs. That consistency tells her everything she needs to know about your confidence. That's what makes her respect you and feel drawn to you even more. This approach doesn't require you to be the loudest, the best dressed, or the funniest guy in the room. It requires you to be emotionally calibrated, to be able to enter a space and hold your ground, to walk up to a woman not because you need something, but because you saw something that caught your attention, and that's it. You're not there to win approval. You're there to observe and see what's real. That energy is rare, and rare energy is unforgettable. Most men don't realize that the way you make a woman feel in those first 30 seconds can completely override her first impression. You could be someone she wasn't even considering, and suddenly, you're the only one she notices. Not because you tried too hard, but because you approached her like someone who already has options, someone who doesn't flinch when he doesn't get instant results, someone who understands that attraction is built in layers, and you're patient enough to let those layers unfold naturally. Attraction isn't about instant chemistry, it's about emotional resonance. How does she feel when she's around you? Does she feel safe and stimulated at the same time? Does she feel curious, even when she's trying not to? Those are the questions you should be asking yourself. Not, did I impress her? But, what kind of experience did she just have with me? Because if she walks away feeling something she doesn't normally feel, you've already made an impact. And she'll remember you, not because you were the best looking guy in the room, but because you made her feel something real. That's the power of approach done right. It's not about the perfect line. It's not about being overly confident or slick. It's about understanding how to shift emotional energy, how to carry yourself in a way that quietly demands respect, and how to make a woman see you not just as another guy trying his luck, but as a man who chooses who he gives his attention to. That choice, that sense of self control, is what makes you stand out in a world full of desperate energy. So remember, even if she isn't showing interest at first, it doesn't mean she never will. What matters most is how you handle that first moment. Do you flinch, or do you stay composed? Do you seek validation, or do you give her space to become curious? That's the game. And if you know how to play it right, the woman who wasn't paying attention a minute ago might be the one trying to get closer just a little later. Now, let's talk about what really makes her start chasing you, even if she wasn't interested in the beginning. It's not the way you look, it's not the words you use, it's how you make her question herself. Most guys try to get a woman to like them by being overly agreeable, overly nice, or overly available. But that doesn't create attraction, that creates predictability. And what women truly respond to is emotional unpredictability. That doesn't mean being toxic or manipulative. It means letting her feel things she didn't expect to feel: confusion, curiosity, a little tension, followed by calm reassurance. You're giving her a story to experience. And in that story, you're the one who's in control of the pacing. Think of it this way: most women are used to guys handing over all their power in the first 5 minutes. They give their attention away for free. They overshare. They chase. And then they wonder why the spark fades. What she actually wants, even if she can't explain it, is to earn a bit of your time and focus. She wants to feel like there's a reason you're choosing to talk to her, that you're not this way with every woman, that your energy is selective. Because once she believes she's earning something valuable, she starts investing. And when a woman starts investing her time, her energy, her curiosity, that's when attraction flips in your favor. Here's the twist most guys never see coming. Sometimes a woman's initial disinterest is actually her way of protecting herself. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because real connection makes her feel vulnerable. If you keep approaching her the same way everyone else does, she'll stay behind that wall. But if you approach her without pressure, without expectation, just showing presence, confidence, and a subtle sense of detachment, you lower her guard without even trying. She feels safe. She feels seen. And suddenly, she starts showing a side of herself she usually hides. That's how deep connections are built. Not by force, but by your ability to make her feel something new. Another underrated tactic: ask better questions. Instead of defaulting to "what do you do" or "where are you from," ask things that engage her imagination. Try, "what's something you've always wanted to try but haven't yet?" Or, "what's your favorite kind of chaos?" Like the fun kind, not the stressful kind. These questions do two things. First, they break her out of autopilot mode. Second, they make her associate you with depth and emotional variety. You become more than just another guy trying to flirt. You become a person who stimulates her mind and her emotions. And when a woman feels both of those things from the same person, she doesn't forget it. The secret sauce to pulling all of this off is simple but rare: controlled presence. Being present doesn't mean being loud or always talking. It means listening with intention, holding eye contact without trying to dominate, letting silences happen without rushing to fill them. When you operate with that kind of self-assured calm, women notice, because it signals one thing: you don't need their approval. And ironically, that's what makes you magnetic. It's the guy who doesn't need to be chosen who often gets chosen the most. Sometimes the woman you thought wasn't interested was just waiting to see if you were different, if you could offer a different energy, if you had enough control to not chase her like the rest. If you could make her feel something deeper than surface level attraction, and when you approach her in that grounded, intentional way, you give her permission to lean into you, slowly at first, then faster, until suddenly she's the one wondering what you think of her. That's the real win. Not convincing her to like you, but creating a space where she feels naturally drawn to you. Because when she starts initiating contact, sending subtle signals, or even outright expressing interest, you've flipped the entire dynamic. And all of it came from how you handled that first moment, without pressure, without fear, and without needing anything from her. So remember this: attraction isn't created by chasing harder, it's created by shifting how you show up. From the way you approach, to the way you listen, to the way you let her feel the contrast between who you are and what she's used to. When you combine calm confidence with subtle emotional tension, you don't just stand out, you become unforgettable. And once you've made her feel something unique, her initial lack of interest doesn't matter anymore. Because now, she's not just interested, she's invested. Watch the next video.